Professor of Sociology at Mount Royal University. He joins us now live from Calgary in Canada. Muhannad, thanks for being with us. We're just hearing there from our correspondent what Israel is keen for going into these talks. They just want to extend phase one. Add to that 6 weeks of a so-called ceasefire for Gazans now, but scores still being killed, humanitarian aid halted, power supply cut. How does all of this bode for this new round of talks?
Thank you for having me. And in addition to the siege and the total blockade that is being imposed on Gaza right now, Israel has violated the ceasefire in many other ways, including military attacks that have killed a number of Palestinians. A woman was wounded last night. Up to 5 Palestinians, I believe, were reportedly killed this week. You know, this is clearly not a side that is interested in a real peace. You don't starve an entire population if you are interested in a real ceasefire and the exchange of hostages and captives. You know, what Israel is doing with this brutal blockade is a textbook example of what scholars called structural violence. This is a kind of violence that leads to so many deaths and injuries for Palestinians as a result of Israeli deliberate policies such as this. They don't involve bullets and bombs, but they kill and harm Palestinians nonetheless. And it is such a horrific form of violence that has been practiced by the Israeli state for decades and is being intensified in this genocide. And as many people have commented, it is clearly a strategy to continue the genocide, continue to harm as many Palestinians as possible and make life impossible for Palestinians in Gaza. You know, we're talking here about a peace agreement, or sorry, not a peace, but a ceasefire deal that one side, the Israeli side, has absolutely no interest in seeing through or in building towards a real ceasefire moving forward.
We do have a very different administration in the States and a very different approach from the Biden administration. So how likely is it, do you think, that the States will be able to change Israel's position? Israel, it seems very adamant that they're going into this, as you say, just to extend phase one. But what are the chances of the Americans being able to change that?
So the Americans are able to change that. Are they willing to change that is the real question. Under Biden, the Americans could have stopped this in October of 2023. They could immediately stop all of Israel's assaults on the Gaza Strip with just one policy move, that is, cut off all weapons and economic aid to Israel and stop giving them political cover, and that would end it. Israel would not be able to do any of the things that it has done over the last 2 years, or that it has done over the last few decades, in fact, without the U.S. being actively involved. So the U.S. is able to force Israel to accept a ceasefire deal. Are they willing to do that is the remaining question. And, you know, you're getting all sorts of mixed reports and mixed signals from the Trump administration. Some believe that they are serious, that they do want to see this ended. How they want to see it ended is still being debated. But I mean, I take the Americans at their word, and that is that they do want to empty out Gaza, take it over in some form or another. So you know, unless they tell us otherwise, then that is what we should assume that they want to do. But certainly Trump wants to have some political victories here, seeing more captives and hostages released, the end of the major bombing campaigns, that kind of thing. I do believe that Trump is interested in having in the short term, at the very least. They can easily exert enough pressure on the Israelis to make them accept the ceasefire deal and go along with it. But I personally believe that many countries around the world should also be trying to do their best to exert pressure on both the U.S. and Israel to make them accept the ceasefire deal that was agreed to back in January.
Okay, Muhannad Ayyash, Professor of Sociology at Mount Royal University, joining us from Calgary in Canada. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.